Hi, I'm Zach Buchanan, and today we're going to be talking about tomatoes. Tomatoes are a great way to get into gardening and also a fun time of year for experienced gardeners. When growing tomatoes, the first thing you want to consider is which variety of tomato you're going to grow. You want to think about your uses for tomatoes and pick the right one for you. Next, you want to think about whether you're going to grow your tomatoes in containers or in raised beds. Both are great options. Containers allow you to move your tomato, whether it's cold or it's not getting enough light. Raised beds give a tomato more room to grow, create roots, and get bigger tomatoes with higher yields. Regardless of where your tomato ultimately ends up, you might consider starting off 4-inch containers like this in 1-gallon sized pots so that you can move them in if the weather's cold, or you can protect them if the weather is too hot. Once your tomato has outgrown a 1-gallon pot, you can consider bumping it up into a 3-gallon pot size or transplanting it directly into a raised bed. In Houston, we have 2 small windows to grow tomatoes, one in spring and one in fall. Because tomatoes grow so fast and need those nutrients, we recommend a consistent organic fertilizing schedule. First, you want to pick a granular fertilizer that's going to feed slowly and over time. We recommend things like Rose Glow, Microlife, or Tomato Tone. All organic and all geared to feed slowly and give your tomatoes exactly the nutrients they need. In addition to a granular fertilizer that feeds slowly and over time, we recommend a weekly liquid fertilizer that's going to give that plant a slight jolt of that organic nutrients that it so craves. When choosing an organic fertilizer, you want to consider the 3 numbers that are on most fertilizing bags. Those numbers represent nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium ratios. Nitrogen is going to encourage leaf growth and the plant growth. You might do that early in the growing season. Once your tomato plant starts blooming, you might consider switching to a fertilizer with a higher middle number to promote blooming and fruiting. If you choose to grow tomatoes in a container, you want to start with all new, fresh soil. Don't use last season's tomato soil. Get rid of that, clean your pots, disinfect, and start with new, fresh soil. We recommend the veggie and herb mix or Buchanan's Life Below mix as a good base for a container garden. When transplanting your tomato plant into a raised garden bed, consider amending that soil before transplanting with a good organic compost. That's going to add microbes and nutrients that will help the ultimate success of your tomato plant. Because tomatoes are such fast growers, you want to think about support of that plant as it grows quickly and tall, sometimes taller than you or me. That's where stakes and tomato cages come into play. This tomato already has a tomato cage. It is a dwarf variety, so this small tomato cage is probably good. But for larger varieties or cherry tomatoes, you might want to consider a larger cage, getting it on the plant early so that the plant can grow into that tomato cage. Trying to fit a cage around a full-grown tomato plant is not a fun errand. Once your tomato starts fruiting, you want to be vigilant about your fertilizing and watering schedules. When your fruit is getting large enough and starts to show color, at that point you can pick off that fruit, bring it inside and let it ripen inside. That way avoiding potential pests that might try to eat your tomatoes before you do. The best thing you can do when growing tomatoes is using organic amendments, and that will make your job a lot easier and allow the plant to defend itself and provide nutrients for itself in the long run. Those are the basics for growing tomatoes. If you have any more questions, please reach out or come visit us. Happy gardening!